G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Let's go. My girlfriend broke up with me and told me she doesn't want to be our daughter's mum anymore. The mother of my child, who had been my girlfriend for over 3 years until last night, broke up with me and told me she doesn't want to be a mum right now. I'm 19 and in my sophomore year of college. She's about to turn 18 and in her senior year of high school. We had been together for 3 years, since we were in high school together. She got pregnant toward the end of my senior year. Our daughter just turned 1 year old. The pregnancy wasn't planned. We were careful, but not careful enough, and it happened. I was willing to support any decision that she wanted to make. We talked through all the options together. She wasn't forced by anyone to keep the baby, but I told her that I would be involved and support that if that's what she ultimately decided to do. She said she already started to grow attached to the baby and love it early in the pregnancy and couldn't get an abortion. Neither of us were very comfortable with adoption, so she decided to keep it, and I adjusted to the idea of becoming a dad at 18 years old. I had been accepted to another college a state away, but I changed my plans after this happened and decided to go to an in-state school within driving distance of where we live. I live at home with my parents and I commute to school. I'm only going to college part-time and will most likely graduate in 6 years instead of 4. I had planned to go full-time out of state and had much bigger goals for what I'd do after that. I also have a job and all of that income goes to supporting our child. But I'm okay with that. This is my responsibility. I love my daughter, I don't have a ton of free time, but we do share custody, and our daughter splits her time about 50-50 now between both of our families' houses. She used to have her more often because she was so little, but I still went over to her parents to help and to see my child all the time. My girlfriend is a loving mum, or always seemed like she was. I know it's been hard for her in many aspects, but I thought she loved our daughter as much as I do. I couldn't imagine saying, I don't want to be her parent anymore. There are moments where I still can't believe this is my life, and there are times where I wish I had some more freedom, but I still wouldn't change it. She told me last night that she's been thinking about it for a while. She's applying to some colleges further from our home and eventually wants to go study abroad. This isn't what she wants for her life, and she's not ready to be a parent right now. She told me that I'm much better at it than she is, and she feels like a fraud. She said she wants to figure out what needs to be done legally to give me full custody of our daughter, as we don't have any sort of legal custody agreement right now. She also suggested that maybe it'd be good to start transitioning our daughter to eventually live full-time with me, starting right now. She wants to have her less time, but thinks that it won't be right to do it suddenly. I'm just sort of in shock. I'm blown away by this, really. I can't believe she would do this. It's not about me having to care for our daughter full-time or anything related to me not wanting that. I am so angry and almost disgusted at the thought that she could just decide she really eventually wants nothing to do with her own child. She made it clear that she doesn't want to be her mum once she leaves here. I'm trying not to explode. Maybe she was just feeling that way and will change her mind. In the comments, listen man, you need to go through the courts and get her to either give you custody or sign away her parental rights completely. You cannot have her popping up randomly, deciding to be a mum again. I've read way too many stories here on Reddit where they came back years later, even though they did sign away their parental rights, saying bullcrap like, I want a relationship with my son and daughter now. F that. You just know that's what's going to happen anyway. The ex-girlfriend will go off and live her life carefree, while OP and the child will go through the toughest years of child raising together. And then she'll come back when the child is more grown and easier to care for, and then will want a relationship. And since the child was so young when mum left, they won't remember the trauma of being left and will want the relationship with the mum, who is now so much cooler than dad because she has cash and free time and no cares in the world. Yup. OP is almost better off getting full custody with child support rather than her terminating rights because at least she'll have to contribute financially. In reality, the mum can come back either way to try to have a relationship. Just FYI, signing away parental rights does not automatically exempt you from paying child support. Not sure where you got that idea from, but the more you know. You're right to be angry, to be upset. That's a hard blow to take. I echo the sentiments of some of the other commenters in that this is possibly postpartum depression and anxiety and or the weight of seeing all of her friends graduate and move on with their lives and wanting that for herself. However, that doesn't make it okay. I'd give it until the end of the school year, which is what, 4-ish months or so? Start whittling down her time with your daughter to see how she deals with that. If her parents can get her some sort of counseling, that may help matters in one direction or the other. If by the time she's ready to ship off to college and hasn't changed her mind, you need to lay down the lines about what's best for your daughter. Personally, I'd tell her that this is it. If she walks away now, she can't come back until daughter is old enough to make that choice for herself. Kids need stability. It doesn't matter if it's 6 months after she leaves or 2, she can't just up and abandon your kid and then come back when it's convenient. Definitely speak to a legal representative and navigate terms for custody and figure out what would be best for your little. Once you've figured that all out, sit your ex down and make sure she understands, in no uncertain terms, what the consequences of walking away will be. Have witnesses, and once she's certain about what choice she wants to make, do not waver. You need to do what's best for your daughter. Unfortunately, that often means making hard, painful decisions. As long as you're always honest with her about matters in age-appropriate ways, she'll thank you for being her father and her rock when she is older. I am so sorry you're having to deal with this, both you and your daughter. You are doing great as a dad, especially one so young. Hang in there and lean on your family for support when you need it. And now, onto the update. Thanks to everyone who commented on my original post. Didn't expect to get 1,000 responses. I gave my ex-girlfriend about a week to tell her parents about her plans to abandon our daughter, attend college out of state, and eventually move abroad. She's living in a fantasy land. Her parents are really involved with our daughter, so I thought they had the right to know about what she was planning. One day, I got impatient enough that I told her parents myself. Last week, when I went over to their house to pick up our daughter, my ex wasn't even there. I was pissed off and told her parents everything that she told me. I also let them know that I think she needs to be evaluated for PPD. I wasn't really familiar with it before. I knew about it, but only the more extreme cases of mums murdering their kids. When I looked it up, I realized she has a lot of symptoms, and I can see signs that I missed over the past few months. Now she's mad at me for telling her parents, as well as accusing her of being crazy. She insists that she was screened for PPD already, and she's fine. Her parents have told her that if she wants to go to school out of state or to go study abroad, she'll be all on her own, and they won't support her in any way. They actually can't stop her. Her mum assured me she'll make sure she gets screened for PPD. Although her parents didn't want to agree to it at first, my daughter is staying with me and my parents for the next few weeks to give my ex a break. Sometimes her parents forget that they aren't my daughter's parents. That tells me a lot about what probably goes on over at their house. At first, my parents thought that this was just a phase she was going through, and maybe it is, but we've decided that no matter what she ultimately does, I have to get an official custody agreement in place. If she can make a decision like this and just drop it like a bomb one day, she could easily change her mind just as fast and decide that she wants our daughter all to herself. My mom and dad are going to help me with finding a lawyer to give some guidance with those aspects. I'm not trying to terminate her parental rights. Probably couldn't if I wanted to, since it's just not that simple. I just want to protect myself and my daughter. In the comments, PPD screenings happens in the doctor's office and means nothing. They have you fill out one worksheet, and she could lie on it. I did. I had PPD with my first. I didn't get help, and it got emotionally bad. With my second, I started therapy, and then medication after he was born. It is smart of you to get an official order in place. And OP says, good to know. Also, terrifying. A lot of comments on this are of what I would consider retaliatory or first strike nature. They are correct in the sense that you should ensure that you are prepared and covered legally if needed. That said, she is still the mother of your child. Your suspicion may be correct, and she may be suffering from some type of mental disturbance following the birth of your child. You are both very young. Science has advanced in such a way that we know that the brain generally does not mature until the age of 25. What I mean by that is that at this time, you appear to be the adulting parents. Keep up the good work. At the same time, keep in mind that the child will need their mother, and it would be beneficial for you to keep a good relationship with her. If I were in your shoes, I'd focus on getting your girlfriend mentally healthy. Your parents seem supportive. Perhaps you have the option of leaning on them a bit more in terms of the basic care of your baby. Not because you cannot do it, but because your girlfriend needs you. The best way to protect yourself and your daughter is by taking good care of your girlfriend, the mother of your child. Please keep us updated. And yes, you're an amazing dad and definitely go for primary custody, but if they don't grant that, then go for 50-50. Do not take your daughter back to them without it, because without an actual agreement, she can take her kid out of state and you'll have to find a lawyer and fight her, which is very expensive. Her parents need to know their lane and understand that the baby is yours as much as their daughter's and that they don't have a say. Please protect yourself and your daughter. OP says, thanks. I feel like a not-so-great dad and not-so-great person lately. I've ruined my ex-girlfriend's life, or so she keeps telling me lately. I keep thinking about comments people have made about adoption, and although I could never do that now and would never give my daughter up, I wonder if I'm being selfish sometimes. I look at her and think, I'm really sorry that she got stuck with me, but I'm doing my best. Dads like this, who respect their children, stand up for them where appropriate, and teach them about the world without allowing judgment to be a part of the conversation, are the kind of dad that every kid deserves. And hopefully this is a massive wake-up call to his ex-girlfriend about the internalized misogyny she is projecting onto any young woman that she comes in contact with. Our next post is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend she is not allowed to tell my daughter what to do? I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years, but she only moved in with me 6 months ago. I'm a widower, so I wanted to make sure that our relationship was serious before I was okay with her moving in with me and my daughter. Generally, they get along pretty well. I told my girlfriend at the very beginning of our relationship that I wasn't looking for a stepmom for my daughter. She's old enough that she doesn't need a new mum. Last weekend, I went camping with one of my mates for 2 days, and my girlfriend stayed home with my daughter. I knew my daughter was going to a party on Saturday, and I already agreed to it. But when I came back from my camping trip, my daughter complained that my girlfriend told her that she had to wash her makeup off and do one that's less provocative before she could leave the house. I got angry at my girlfriend and told her that she wasn't allowed to order my daughter around, and she wasn't allowed to prevent her from doing anything that I already agreed to. We had a huge fight, and since then we barely talked. Am I the a-hole in this situation? Edit, my daughter is 16. She doesn't need a babysitter, and my girlfriend isn't my daughter's stepmom or guardian. She's my girlfriend, that's it. In the comments, not the a-hole. I seriously don't understand the you're the a-hole replies here. Your daughter is 16, and you made it clear with your girlfriend she is not going to be a mum figure in any way whatsoever. It's not her place to talk about that, and especially the taking of the makeup thing. What's all that about? Is she really tramp-shaming your daughter here? Also, you might want to talk with your girlfriend about the provocative thing. It is absolutely disgusting to have this mindset instead of talking about other people and keeping their hands to themselves. I agree, not the a-hole. However, I do think there is some nuance here. I'm a stepmom. The kids have both their parents in their lives and are 50-50 with each. I am not their mum. I will never fill that role. It is filled by their bio mum. However, they are still minors who I share a household with. As a result, I do feel somewhat responsible for them, and I do care about them. My stepdaughter is 9, and they started wearing makeup to school. I was shocked. 9 seems so young for makeup, but I didn't call them any type of gendered slur or otherwise shame them. I spoke privately with their father and brought it to his attention. He spoke with their bio mom, and they both agreed that 9 is too young for makeup at school. At sleepovers, to play around with it is fine, wearing it at home for fun on the weekend is fine, but not to school yet. So unless the children or someone else are in actual physical danger, I take my concerns to their father, who talks with their mum about it, and they reach a decision. Makeup is not a physical danger situation. If OP was concerned, at 16 you just let the daughter go out for the night, and then separately, privately talk to the father. Now, I wouldn't call makeup provocative, but if I felt like my 16-year-old stepchild wasn't wearing makeup well, I'd suggest maybe we go to makeup store together and get a makeup lesson and buy new products. Of course, I'd suggest it to their father first and make sure he was okay with it, but I'd do this really only if the makeup was poorly applied. Foundation didn't match child's skin tone, and they left an obvious orange line on their chin/neck, for an example. So I think it's okay to have some concerns about a minor living in your own home when you are not their parent, but you don't shame them like OP did. And unless it's danger of physical harm, you take concerns to their parents in private. And now onto the update. Firstly, I just want to say thank you that I didn't expect my post to blow up the way that it did. I read through all of the comments despite there being so many, and I really appreciate everyone's input. Unfortunately, this update is not exactly a happy one. The day after my post, I tried to have a serious, lengthy discussion about boundaries and our relationship in general, just like many of you suggested. But the discussion got pretty heated, and she said that the reason she asked my daughter to wash her makeup off is because she looked like a tramp. For me, that was just too much. I asked her to leave my house, and by the evening, she moved out. Right now, I don't know if I did the right thing or not, because I truly love my girlfriend, but I just couldn't let anyone talk that way about my daughter. Since she moved out, we haven't talked at all, other than her texting me saying she'll pick up the rest of her things next week. So again, I appreciate everyone that commented on my original post. Seems like I'll have to remain a single dad for a bit longer. In the comments, I don't know how your daughter looked, and neither do you. I have a grandniece who used to dress trampy. Too much makeup, too tight/too short clothes, etc., would not listen to anyone, and became a single mum at 18 to 19 years old. Her mother, my niece, is trashy, has been in prison numerous times, has 5 kids from 3 baby daddies, and goes through men like Kleenex. I don't know how many times she's been married. Does not listen to anyone. When I was about 16, my father made me take off my cut-off shorts, that even I knew were too short, and he cut them up. My self-esteem is just fine, thank you very much. And while you think that you are teaching your daughter that anything goes with her appearance, you're also teaching her that it's okay to throw away a long-term relationship because of one fairly simple disagreement. And you are teaching her not to get involved when somebody she loves could be headed for trouble. You were a 16-year-old boy once, and you know how they think and act. Unless your ex was bullying your daughter in your absence, it sounds to me as if she had your daughter's best interests in mind. OP says, firstly, I do know how she looks when she goes out, and trust me, clothing doesn't make you a single parent. Poor choices do. I became a father at 17, and my then girlfriend was a typical tomboy. It wasn't her appearance that caused the pregnancy, it was my stupidity. And that's something that I am teaching my daughter. Not that she can't wear skirts. Sorry, I know it's not happy for you, but as an objective reader, I consider this a good outcome. It's very not cool that your girlfriend accused your daughter of trying to look trampy, so I'm happy knowing that your daughter has a good dad who will choose her over his love life. Thanks, and good luck finding a better girlfriend. Please don't doubt your decision here. 16 is a tender age between childhood and adulthood. And I remember how harshly I was treated by my parents then for similar crimes. Quite a few years ago now. Your daughter will never forget you're backing her up now, like I'll never forget my own parents for damning me. You did good here, OP. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.